Hello everyone, I'm George. Today, let's talk about bad habits in English learning. Here in Taiwan, many people want to learn English very well. And that is also one of the reasons why you're here, because you want to know if you are learning English in the right way. Basically, there's no exactly the right way or exactly the wrong ways, but there are good habits and bad habits. In the previous video, we talked about a checklist of how you can learn a language. If you want to watch the video, it's here. So in this video, we are going to talk about some bad habits that you might have if you are learning a language. And again, because this is an English channel, I'm going to talk about English language learning. I do have 5 points in this checklist for you to see if you have these bad habits in your English learning process. If you do, change them. If you don't, you are in the right route. And let's begin. Bad habit number 1. Always look for shortcuts. Here in Taiwan, many people are trying to look for shortcuts. They don't believe in the accumulation of your ability. Usually, if you want to learn a language, you have to start when you are very young. But if you're not, then Taiwanese people like to look for shortcuts. Or maybe not only Taiwanese people, generally everyone is looking for a shortcut. I'm not saying having a shortcut is the wrong way. I'm only saying if you don't want to spend that much time learning a language, someday it's gonna backfire. For example, if you want to learn more vocabulary, the best way for you to do it is to read a lot, to listen to a lot of English materials. But what a lot of people do is to try to memorize with their right brain. We've talked about that before. I don't think that is a very good way. And some people want to learn to communicate with people. They would try to memorize a lot of sentences without really talking to a real person. There are many places for you to practice your English, and there are many tips for you to help you with your English learning. But the worst way of learning is to try to find shortcuts, try to get there faster than other people. Think about it. If you can really learn English in a really fast way, doesn't that mean that those who are spending so much time on the language learning are wasting their time actually? So don't always look for shortcuts. Step by step, you'll get there. And let's move on to bad habit number 2. Focus too much on accuracy. No. For the accuracy in this part, I'm not talking about language teachers. I'm talking about language learners. Of course, those teachers have to focus on the accuracy on their pronunciation, their intonation, and their grammar. If any teacher is telling you that accuracy is not important, that is to tell you as a language learner, that is not the first priority. But for teachers, you have to be really good at this. Or why else are you teaching? As a language learner, if the reason why you're learning that language is because you want to communicate with people, then why would certain mispronunciation or mistakes in grammar stop you? Here in Taiwan, many people don't want to speak up because they are afraid if they make a mistake, people would laugh at you. But that is not true. If you can accomplish the goal of communication, then why would people laugh at you because of that? That is exactly what you shouldn't care that much about. I'm not saying pronunciation is not important. I'm only saying if your goal is just to express what you want to say, then just say it. You're not a teacher, you are a language user. Use the language however you want as long as you can communicate. Again, this is not for the language teachers. Teachers should focus more on their pronunciation, intonation, and grammar. And let's move on to bad habit number 3. Rely on limited sources. No. In Taiwan, most students would go to cram schools. Of course, they also learn English from school. In school, you have your textbooks, you have your magazines. They're thinking that I'm learning English from so many books and from so many places. I'm tired. That's enough. I don't want to look for any more news sources. But you have to know, no one person or one book knows everything. If you want to learn the language well, you have to try to learn all the time. You have to try to learn learn from everywhere. There is never enough source. Whenever you find a new one, grab it. Hold on to it. Trust me, you're going to learn more if it is not in your school textbooks or magazines that's been assigned to you. There are TV shows, there are movies, there are radio programs, there are English songs, there are so many different sources. And there is this YouTube channel and hundreds or thousands of English learning YouTube channels that you can learn English from. Don't limit yourself to one source or even just a handful of sources. You should have unlimited sources. And bad habit number 4, switch on and off all the time.
No.
For some reason here in Taiwan, students can just switch their learning mode on and off. For example, after school, if you see anything in English, you would just say, I'm out of school, I don't want to learn anymore. But you have to know, a lot of times when you're learning, you don't even know that you are. If you can always switch on and off, you're gonna miss too much. Even if the material is not in the test, it is still worth learning. Don't tell yourself this is not gonna be tested on, this is not taught at school, or I'm gonna learn it later, and then you give up your learning chance. You are always learning, you're supposed to, and you are. As a good English learner, you should not switch your learning mode on and off. And bad habit number 5, depend on your mother tongue too much.
No.
I think in a lot of Asian countries, people try to learn English through their mother tongue. I'm not saying it's totally wrong, but it will compromise your pronunciation and the cognition of your language learning process. If your mother tongue and your target language are intertwined too much, it will affect the result of your language learning. Asian languages are mostly very different from English. In the composition of the language itself, in the spelling, in the pronunciation, and the grammar. So if you are learning English through your own mother tongue, for example, in your pronunciation, you would never be able to independently think in the target language. The best way to learn a language is try to think in the target language. Like here, if you're learning English, then try to think in English. It takes some practice, it takes some time, but that is the only way. If you're learning English through Chinese, it's never gonna help, no matter what other people are telling you. Trust me. So this is the checklist I provide this time for bad language learning habits. Do you have any of them? The more you have, the more worried you should be. Try to get rid of those bad habits and enjoy your language learning process. I believe you're gonna get a lot of improvement. If you like this video, click the like button down below, or you can subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next time. Bye!